All right. Let's get things rolling this morning on this Thursday edition of the program. It is the Martin Houston Show with Martin, Xavier, and Simeon. We're ready to get things rolling right here on your home for Alabama Sports Talk 100.9 and 1230 MWTBC. Take it away, X.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin, Xavier, and Simeon. And we got a lot to get into. Alabama Hoops gets a big win last night. First game post Betty Yako over the Ole Miss Rebels. We'll get into that, break that game down. What a slow, ugly start turns into a dominant win. We'll also get into combine invites. How many players from Bama are going to get to go to Indianapolis and compete in front of teams, whether it's on the field, interviews, or both? We'll also take a look at the quarterback room and give our grades for the quarterback room coming up in the 2026 season. How you guys feeling? Get in on that conversation as well. Remember, we are powered by Box Eye Care each and every day. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Yeah, X, you mentioned that about the maniacs, man. About the basketball post Bediaco, and we'll dig deep into that. I am excited about the rankings. I thought yesterday we went over the offense side of the ball. We'll rehash that uh, later in the program, and we're going to talk about the uh, quarterback room and remember the measurements, the things that we're going to be talking about when we bring that up is depth in the room. How much depth do you think the position had? You're judging, I guess, how much and the quality. That's what I'm judging. Ceiling, because the question yesterday was, I'm kind of confused on ceiling and game changer. Ceiling is potential, and remember, you're judging the room. Okay, you're judging the room. What's the ceiling for the room? You could have a really, really dynamic player, but the ceiling of the room as a whole may be average. Like like you look at the running back room and you judge that room and say, what's the ceiling of this room? Well, you may give it a B, but you look inside that room, or let me give wide receiver for an example. The ceiling of the room for the wide receiver could be this year because they're young and everything, so we don't know how good they are. But the ceiling, they could have really high potential, but they may only have one game changer in Ryan Williams. We don't know if the other guys are game changers. Roddy Brooks is really good, but is he a game changer? That's a judgment you have to make. So it's not the same potential, and game changer is not the same. And I wanted to clarify that because I think it was Pete Fields asked us yesterday. We were going off the air, kind of got it confused. And then the other one is what's the leadership in that room? So I just wanted to clarify that X before we went into some conversation. Take it on.
Yeah, getting into the basketball game last night, man, it was an interesting one to say the least. Alabama did get the win by 19. 93-74 over Ole Miss. First game without Charles Bediako after his 5-game return to the collegiate ranks. It was ugly to start if you're a Bama fan. At one point, Bama was shooting 3 from 15. From the 3, they were shoot or 3 for 20 from the 3. Then you turn around and they were winning at halftime 32-30, but only shooting 26% from the field. Do y'all think that was just one of those situations that trying to get back into a groove without Bediako. The number threes Bama was putting up was even a little crazy for what Bama shoots throughout the course of a game off rip.
Uh, in my opinion, I just think it was par for the course for what NATO's team uh, does. I don't know if it was too much different with Bediako or without Bediako. It was a higher amount, especially for just one half. But I mean, I think they're gonna shoot. This team's gonna shoot, and they probably had in their game plan this. We're gonna be able to light this team up from three. Now, granted, in the first half, you didn't, but you live by the three
Five
and
for
you die by the.
23.
You live by the three and you die by the three. In the first half, they died. In the second half, they scored 60 points in the second half. So
61, yeah.
61. So I guess you have to weigh out the averages.
Yeah, I did not get to watch the game live. Had to kind of listen and then go back and look at it. Here's the problem with this Alabama basketball team. Okay, I'm gonna go down the list. 4 for 11, and this is field goal. 4 for 7, 4 for 6, 4 for 11, 0 for 3, 7 for 14. So I'm gonna stop right there. That was Phylon, Cheryl, Amari, Allen, uh, Holloway. And the 0 for 3 was Landon Jemison. He to me he's a liability more than he is a benefit, but he he still goes in this top category. And Latrell Wrightsell. And we've been waiting on Latrell. He was 7 for 14. If he could get healthy and stay healthy, I think he's a legit first option if you had to have him as a first option.
Mm-hmm.
But listen to these numbers: 1 for 8, 1 for 2, 1 for 4, and 0 for 0. That's Houston Millette, Bethea, Bobo, and Williamson, guys. That's the new guys that didn't play last year or transferred. The other guys that didn't play last year that's contributing were freshmen in the top part. So that's why they're in there. That's why I put Jemison and Allen in the top. Look at all of the. I mean, you just you can't. Did we miss on all of the transfers? I know we keep saying Williamson.
It's not just him. No,
No.
I mean,
I think Coach
And
Oates
then Bristow
uses
didn't play.
but yeah, and who knows if he'll ever play again? Which it's looking like he won't ever play again. But I
Everson.
think not
For
ever, not
Alabama.
ever, but just for Alabama this season, or maybe for Alabama ever again. Who knows?
Right.
But it does feel like this season was kind of the first time Nate Oates brought in a lot of transfers that haven't panned out so far this season. I feel like the few transfer pieces like Grant Nelson, Mark Sears, in the past have been huge game changers. And
Yeah.
now this year feels like the depth pieces that they got from the transfer portal definitely have not lived up to the hype.
Yeah, and you know,
Especially, they're not even close to averaging what they were averaging at their school before. I mean,
yeah.
Houston Millette was averaging like 20 points a game, and Noah Williamson was the player of the year
Player
in
of the
his kind
year.
of. Neither one of those guys are performing to that level.
Yeah, and Houston Millette, Field said Houston Millette looks good at times. Offensively, he hasn't looked good at all to me all year. Now he's impacted games because he's a hustler and he has some of that Diabate type, but that's not what you bought him here for,
No.
right? So
Yeah.
so you probably could go out and find a lot of guys who would give you that type of effort just to be wearing that Crimson A. On the defensive side in the hustle play, you brought him in for scoring. What happens to this team? Let's look at this. Look, I know we need to get to break here, but let me ask you a question, guys. This is kind of one of those, and you can think about it during the break. If Alabama gets not even 100% of what they bargained for, but if Alabama gets 50 to 75% production from Millette, Bethea, Bowen, and Williamson, if they get in the Crimson A, Script A jersey for the rest of the year and into the tournament, if Alabama gets, I'm going to make 75% of what these guys were brought here to do, Alabama will what? Let that sink in. If Millette, Bowen, Williamson, and Bethea give Alabama basketball 75% of what they were giving their prior teams, not even 100%, what will Alabama do in the tournament? Can it make a difference? Because we've dogged Williamson, but all of them are below what they were before.
Severely.
We'll be back on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good Thursday morning to you. We're getting off to a quiet ride. If you're traveling around the area, you will notice some road construction, of course. And we got that on 2059 westbound at Joe Malisham. A few lanes down there, but no delays. Also, as you travel on Skyland Boulevard at 359, that flyover bridge has road construction. So look out for that. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
This report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance.
It's the grand reopening of the all-new Tuscaloosa Mazda. Get the grand reopening price. Plus, make no payments till spring. TuscaloosaMazda.com.
At Townsend Nissan, we bring the value. Drive the 2026 Sentra for just $279 a month, one of the lowest payments in Alabama. Plus, a lifetime powertrain warranty and 3 years of free oil changes when you mention Steve in DC. Townsend Nissan, your family in the car business.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Max your tax refund at Spiller Furniture and Mattress, where right now you can get your choice of 8 sofas for just $4.99. Get more for your tax refund at Spiller Furniture and Mattress, where you get big selection, friendly service, and credit.
Everybody loves Taco Casa. Everything we do in our store, we prepare in our store. We hand cut all of our tomatoes. We block and shred our own cheese here in the store. So we still hand cut our chips, our sopapillas, our taco shells, our chimalupa bowls. Our chili takes about 4 to 6 hours to make every single day. The goal in that is to provide the freshest, best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
If you have an unsightly crack on the walkway leading up to your house, maybe your front porch or your back patio, take care of it. It's affordable. Our friends at APS will do that for you. Alabama Professional Services, 4th generation family business. They will come over. They'll do a free inspection. Again, affordable. Get a free estimate from APS. Contact them at alabamaprofessional.com. alabamaprofessional.com. They'll also take care of any problems you got with a damp crawl space or a crack in your foundation. They even do pest control and lawn care. Full service. Alabama Professional Services at alabamaprofessional.com.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. And this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They've moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com, or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
A sunny sky today, the high at 62. For tonight, mostly clear with the low at 39. Tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny, the high 65. Saturday, increasingly cloudy, the chance of a shower by afternoon, the high 68. I'm James Spann with the Alabama Weather Network on Tide 100.9. It's 37 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin, Xavier, and Simeon. We're live, local, ready to get things rolling. Right before we get into that conversation that I had for you about the Alabama does what if you get 75% production from Bethea, Williamson, Millette, and Bo Bowen. Before we get into that, I want to remind you that you can get 100% performance from Dixie Battery Supply. Never feel powerless again. Never feel like you're hitting that 50%. You go out there and it's cold and you try to start that car and that battery isn't performing up to standards. You're going to be pushing, walking, or jumping, one of the two. And so make sure that you don't have to deal with that. And you can do that by going to see good folks over at Dixie Battery Supply, Tuscaloosa, Northport, Bessemer, physical mortar, brick and mortar locations. You can visit them online at dixiebatterysupply.com. Never feel powerless again. They can take care of all of your battery needs. That's Dixie Battery Supply. Okay, let me before you guys answer the question, let me address this. Jacob Powell asked the following: did those guys come off the bench and put those numbers up at their other schools? Because maybe they are guys who need to get into the flow of the game to get going. I get that. Could they be James Harden? Remember James Harden? James Harden was a guy who was coming off the bench at Oklahoma. I hate the way he plays the game. I think it's a fraud. But anyway, that's another. I think he flops way too much and it's horrible. And he gets way too many fluke calls. But that's just I digress. I'm sorry, Simeon. I digress. But I had to just throw that out there because I don't want anybody thinking that Martin Houston is giving some credence to James Harden. But he scores the ball, right? He scores the ball. He can. He's a bona fide scorer. But you didn't see that a lot of that when he was but you saw flashes of it, right? You saw enough with him coming off the bench that you could go, man, if I were to give this guy some more minutes, he could potentially be a franchise guy. Okay. He says, good point, Jacob. Maybe maybe they need more minutes. Hard decision for Oates when they're not hitting. I agree with that. Jacob Powell said, just asking because I didn't follow them at the other school. Okay, here's my take on that. I'll let y'all give your take on it, and then we'll answer the question. If my take on it is this: Millette has started, Bo Bowen has started, but he was hurt, but he don't play defense, is what I was told. He wants to be, I guess, James Harden 2.0. And you're not gonna get that when you have a guy that's the leading SEC scorer in your position. And the guy that would be the leading scorer in that position is Holloway. If Phylon wasn't on this team, Holloway may be the leading scorer. And if Phylon and Holloway wasn't on this team, Wrightson would probably be the leading scorer in the SEC. So you ain't gonna get that unless you play defense, right? Bo Bowen probably has been the closest to his pre-Alabama production, but he's been hurt. One game, oh my finger, oh my toe, oh my.
Well, I can tell you, I pulled up their numbers, and Taylor Bowen is the closest to what he brought last year. He averaged 8 points, 5.2 rebounds a game, a block and a half, and a steal a game. This year, he's averaging 7.2, 5.1 rebounds, 1 block, and half a steal a game. But here's the big factor. He shot 41% from three last year.
Yeah.
Shooting 30% from three this year.
Is there anybody on Alabama that's making even close to their career average at 3-point other than Holloway?
Wrightsell's closed. But then you look at Mallett. His last year at Pepperdine, he averaged 14.7, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. He's averaging 7, 4, and 1 this year. His thing is he went from 43% down to 37%. Noah Williamson, 17, 7, and 1 block. He's averaging 1.2, 1.6, half a block.
And to be fair, he should be averaging somewhere between half of that. I mean, you would expect him coming off
drop off.
You would expect him to be averaging somewhere between 9 and 10 points a game.
Right.
I mean, that's
Thea.
You see what I'm saying?
Thea dropped off 2 points, and his 3 percentage has actually gone up a little bit, but he's playing half as much as he's playing and brings you nothing on the defensive end.
And his 3, he's getting to play in. That's like me being out there. I might get a 3 up.
They literally put him out there with the walk-ons.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my goodness.
But I will say he's still engaged. I saw him cheering on the sideline. So that's a positive. I mean, but my point is that I get it that they should have they may be guys that play better playing a lot, but all of these guys have started except for Williamson, I think.
No, Williamson started, but Thea hadn't started.
I'm sure, Williamson had started at one point.
But here's the other part. The freshmen came in and smoked them in the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in the preseason. It doesn't matter. Like Nate Oates didn't know that they wouldn't either they're bad practice players or this is what they were in the camp. Because you have to think, Jemison, either they're playing Jemison so they don't lose him, or these other guys are bad. I mean, Jemison, to me, plays more for an unproductive freshman than anybody I've seen under Nate Oates. And I'm not trying to be funny. He's a good ball player. He's young, but he's a good ball player.
I also just don't think he knows. I don't know if they have role for him. He doesn't know what his role is. Something.
He seemed to think
He's
his role
shooter.
is to jack up threes.
He's a shooter.
True.
I mean, my point
That's true.
behind that is if these other guys had produced, would he even be playing at the rate he's playing? Is he playing because of the hustle, the effort? Because he plays hard and he's a good player. So I'm not dogging him as a freshman. I'm dogging him on when you look at what the potential of this team should have been.
He shouldn't have been playing.
You wouldn't expect his production to have him in the top 8 rotation.
I mean, he's shooting 44% from the field, 45% from the field, and 36 from 3, which is right in line with everybody else.
But here's the problem: have you watched it? Sometimes stats don't tell you the whole story. He'll have a game where he may go 4 for 5, but then he'll go 0 for 3, 1 for 8, and then he'll have a game where so his average is probably good, but the consistency
it's not consistent
of the game is now. I haven't watched this Alabama team as much. Let me tell you how off this team is for me. I can remember I used to be like, okay, when it's church over, I need to go check the game. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to be like, okay, what Bama do tonight? Soon as I would check before church started if it was one of those 6 o'clock, 6:30 tip-offs. And as soon as church was over, I would follow up. Man, I'll be driving to church and forget Alabama even have a game now. I got home. I went riding last night out to church and then got home and said, oh, man, Alabama played tonight. You see what I'm saying? Like, I had to go back and re-look at stats and stuff.
Now, do we as Alabama fans need to pump the brakes a little bit? Because Alabama is 17-7 right now.
Yeah.
I would love to go see the record of Alabama teams in the past at 24 games. Because as bad as this season feels like, I feel like 17-7 isn't that far off from what he's done in the past. Especially
I think we had such high hopes. I think Nate Oates, in my excitement, and Nate Oates is suffering from his own expectations that he built. Okay? I mean, literally, I think that probably, Simeon, if you look at it, is this team performing? Are we looking at Alabama's basketball record in the same way that we're looking at the players we just talked about? Is Nate Oates as disappointed with all the guys as we are? Is he disappointed? Like I brought up,
is
Jim,
this as much?
I mean, he's not disappointed with Jimison because he keeps playing him, right? So that's just me because I probably put some unfair expectations on this team and on these players.
Well, is it similar to how we're feeling with football? Alabama made it to the playoffs this year. Alabama had a 8-9 game win streak. And we feel like, you talk to most Alabama fans, you feel like, good night. You would think this past football season, Bama barely went 500.
For me,
because it looked bad.
Timmy, you had something. Go ahead.
No, I just think this team, last year's team, may have outperformed expectations. Because this team last year had very similar struggles where they were getting blown out. They lost like 4 out of the 5 games. They got bounced early in the SEC tournament, and everybody was like, "Uh-oh." And then they went into an Elite Eight. And so I feel like that's the difference, was that last year's team finished the season so much better than
they performed.
They performed throughout the regular season. So everybody was like, well, of course, next year they're going to be even better.
And I think it was partly because of who we brought in. I think I think it's because of who we brought in. We had higher expectations. To the football thing, to me, what made the football thing bad, as I talk about it, is not last season. I just hate the lows of last season. You have to fix your floor. The board has to figure out how to not be humiliated as the
Yeah.
Alabama program. I mean, like it, love it or hate it. I like the board. You know, I think he can get the job done. But I don't want us to be 11-1 and get beat by Vanderbilt. I don't want us to be 11-1 and get embarrassed by Oklahoma, who hadn't beat anybody else in the SEC. I don't want us to be 12-1 in the playoffs and get beat 38-3. I don't care. Just fix your floor, dude. That's it. Just fix the floor. That's why I have a problem with Alabama, because the floor was already low. The ceiling has been good under DeBoer. The question is, can you lose everything that you lost in the offseason and fix your floor? That's my concern, Simeon. Is the floor? Could we go and off and make the playoffs again next year? Yes. But the question is, with all these young guys, man, could we come into a game and get just annihilated? I don't want to see another annihilation on the way to the playoffs.
Yeah.
You have to understand, when was the last time like how shocked were we when Clemson did us in that game? Man, I was sitting there watching the game like, oh my God. What happened? Did they all go out and get drunk last night? That's how bad it was. And we are doing that. We've had more blowout losses under the board than we had under Saban in the last 20 years. That's the concern with it. As far
I think we had more blowout losses under him than we had. I think we might have had more blowout losses under him than we had this millennium.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if Shula got mollywalked like that. That's the problem. The floor with the board. And my concern is, I know this is a sidebar from what I was asking, but the floor for me is the concern with the board. And when you lose as many veteran guys, you have a lot of potential and talent, and we're going to get to the rankings on the other side. It's still a concern. And you won't know till the end of the season. I'll have to go through all of next year with the biggest concern I've had, just waiting on that shoe to drop. Which game is it that these young guys, even though we're winning, even though we go on an 8-9 game top 25 beat down of our opponents in our schedule, when is that shoe going to drop? And we're going to get embarrassed. I'm tired of being embarrassed as Alabama football, Alabama sports. Florida does to us in basketball what the board gets done to him in football. And you have to fix that.
Yeah.
Because that's what Florida represents, what it takes to win a national title. Agree?
Yeah.
That's a national championship team. And we don't have the ingredients in the recipe to beat that right now. Or do we? If we get that production from those guys, what do we do? And then take it to break, whoever goes last.
To get the production, we have to.
No, not to get the production. If we get the production.
Oh, if we
get the production, this Alabama team will do what?
I mean, if we get that production out of these guys, I think it is a Final Four level team. I mean, and a national championship winning team. If you just get 50 to 75% of what you expect it to get because of how everybody else is playing as well.
Yeah, if this nucleus of a team, if the starting five produces the same along with the bench, bringing 50 to 75%, then I think this team has Final Four national championship written all over them. And hopefully we get to see that, because I would love to see this team play up to their full potential.
Yeah, absolutely. And Williamson, I think, is the key there in terms of we need to see some physicality. We have two big men that play soft. Even though Sherrill is playing good basketball, he just doesn't play the type. I mean, he got 15 again. I mean, he was averaging 20 his last few games before Bediako. He went for 15 last night on a bad night for the team. The question is, can we nullify the rebounds? And I think you have to have Williamson for that to be a yes. All right, we'll be back on the other side. When we come back on the other side, we're going to switch over to the power ranking. We're going to review the offense, just see what those grades were, and then we're going to talk about the quarterback room.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you on this Thursday. Moving right along on your Tuscaloosa freeways and side streets, taking a look at the intersections of Lurleen, Wallace, and McFarland, as well as 69, of course. That's moving right along. Skyland Boulevard in between McFarland and 359, not finding any major mishaps. And then we got 2059 westbound lanes here in between 359 and Joe Malisham. You will tap on those brakes just slightly. With your Tuscaloosa traffic now, Tammy Thomas.
It's a crime to pay more than one dime down. So get to Tuscaloosa Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Plus, they have acres of certified pre-owned. TuscaloosaCDJR.com.
Hey guys, are you ready to take control of your health, energy, and performance? Primetime Men's Health Clinic is ready to help. Their clinic is built around the idea that men deserve better care, private and tailored to their lives. So if you're experiencing low testosterone, weight gain, hair loss, ED, or just want to perform like you did in your 20s, go to primetimemensclinic.com and change your life. That's right, guys. Change your life by going to primetimemensclinic.com.
Winter is in full swing, and Aleve is here to keep you moving. When the cold weather sets in, everyday aches and pains can linger, but Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, Aleve keeps you going with long-lasting body pain relief to get you through whatever the season brings. Chilly days or cozy nights, Aleve gives you that long-lasting body pain relief you can count on this winter. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
Jeff Dunham, artificial intelligence.
Jeff Dunham. You're the other white meat. RJ, how can you be so smart on one hand and so stupid on the other?
Well, you're half of it.
I realize I could have avoided all this years ago with one simple word. I do not. Silence!
Saturday, May 23rd, Pearl River Resort Silver Star Convention Center.
Tickets on sale now at PearlRiverResort.com.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems that can keep you up at night, like snoring, aches and pains, or sleeping hot. Our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now at Mattress Firm, save up to $700, plus get a free adjustable base with select Sealy Posturepedic mattresses. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
The sound of Bama Sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show with Martin, Xavier, and Simeon. And right before we went to break, we said we were going to hit the quarterback rankings. But before we do that, we did have some news last night. Alabama hired its tight end coach, Richard Owens, who was the Louisville offensive line coach. He, in 2024, coached and led Louisville to have top 15 yards per rush and yards per pass. And so we were super excited to get him. No Scott Huff, but also he's the assistant O-line coach for Alabama as well. So he almost brings something, like you said, Dad, with experience with the offensive line. So we're excited to have a guy that can help Coach Clem, but also a guy that has played in the NFL as a tight end, which I find it interesting that the two guys he brought in for these new positions played in the NFL at said positions.
Yeah, it's an interesting move, and I like it. You kind of double up with the lineman experience. You double up with the NFL experience from the coaching standpoint or playing standpoint. You got to get mean and nasty up front, and the offensive line and the tight ends work as one cohesive unit in the run game a lot of the times. And I think that's what you're going to get with Richard Owens and Adrian Clem. Get them boys nasty again.
Yeah, I like it because it kind of brings what I said. It's not Huff, but it brought what I liked about Huff coming in as tight end coach, the guy who knows how the entire offensive line needs to work, but also understands how the tight end plays. And this guy understands it from a playing standpoint, and he understands the O-line. And so it's a good thing. I don't know much about his NFL experience, but what it could mean is you bring an O-line coach in to coach the tight ends. It may mean that we have a lot of dual tight end, 2 tight end, 3 tight end sets in the run game and in the pass game. Let that sink in. That's what we could be seeing, guys, is that, 12 and 13 personnel with 2 tight ends, 3 tight ends, and using that as a pass formation. But it also, as Saban likes to say, when you get 2 tight ends, man, you get that you get an extra gap for the defense to have to cover. You put that third tight end close, like at wingback, like I played outside the tight end, you create yet another gap for the defense to cover. So you can spread that defense out thin and make them have to cover a lot of gaps. So, and then we know chemistry matters. And I think him knowing how to make sure the tight end and the tackle are working together is huge. So I like the pick. Wasn't Huff, but it sounds like he got a lot of the things that I was thinking that Huff would bring to the table. Let's get to Chuck real quick. Chuck, you're in with Simeon and Xavier. What's on your mind?
Oh yeah, I was gonna be quick. I was just the other day you were just talking about we've seen what has happened with the ruling with Charles Bediako, and you were just talking back about what happened with your former teammate Antonio Langham when you said go from amateur to professional, and we saw that happen. You remember that what happened with even with I know people hate to hear his name sometimes. Deion Sanders, that happened in 1989 Sugar Bowl. He almost didn't play that game when Florida State played against that school down the road that you all talk about. And they end up beating Florida State, ended up winning that game. He ended up getting an interception off of Reggie Slacks. He almost didn't play that game because it was alleged that he had signed with an agent. He had played baseball as well, And it brought, and I look at here we are in 2026 having these issues, and I'm gonna land on this one. I'm gonna ask you all a question. See if y'all have this at Alabama, at LSU, the men and women's basketball game. They said those who come to the game that those promotional games that come, they have giveaways. They said if you go and get people go and get the gifts and then take off before the tip off. They said if students do that they could lose their season tickets. Depending upon what it is, and that, man, we're having to kind of have mixed feelings about it. It could be a family emergency or anything. You might have to leave, and they said they try and push into football as well. People leaving before the game, and they say they could lose season tickets. I was trying to see if that's taking place at Alabama and these other schools. I'm gonna land on that one.
Thanks. So I'm not aware of that happening. I would say put a product on the field that make them want to stay. I mean, if I go through the problem with standing in line, getting in a game, I ain't leaving unless you put jump. I mean, I'm not going to walk out on a good Super Bowl. I'm not going to walk out on a good matchup. I mean, I don't know, guys.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything like that either. But like you said, make the product something that they don't want to leave.
That's right.
100%.
All right. Yeah. We started the rankings yesterday. We started with the offense in general, and you had depth was it's going to be Martin, Xavier, and Simeon in that order, from wisdom to youth. Depth was C minus, C plus. Ceiling was A plus, A. Leadership was C plus, B plus, B plus, and game changer was A plus, A, and A. So on ceiling and game changer, I was a lot more generous than you guys. Not a lot, but we all had A's there. So that part's good. The problem we all were concerned with depth and on leadership, I was like the hardest. Let's swap over to the quarterback room. And we can, like I said, we can break down. We're just giving grades today. We can get a little bit of conversation in there from a depth standpoint. We'll let the youth start. Depth at quarterback.
I would say B plus because of Austin Mack being this is fourth year in the system. Keelan Russell is really good, but he's also unproven, and I guess so is Austin Mack in a way. And then you go to a guy that has never played before. So,
yeah, I have to go. When you look at how long they've been in the system, when you look at rankings and things of that nature, you feel good, but there's no real experience. So it's kind of, I would probably go C plus, B minus, somewhere in that range. I'll go.
Pick one.
I'll go C plus, just because you've got four scholarship quarterbacks in this room. Two of them are true freshmen. Another one's a redshirt freshman who might be all world, and then you've got a fourth year junior who's never started before.
I mean, I'm going to go with a B. I was leaning B plus, but I'm going to go with a B on it for this reason. And like I said, we'll dig deeper tomorrow on this. But to me, when I look at it, you have two guys that have high rankings, and we've seen highlights of one of them. I saw some stuff in Indiana when a guy who had not got reps to go, okay, if this guy got the first team reps, he has all the other intangibles. Then the guy behind him is one of the highest ranked quarterbacks Alabama's ever had. We saw what Bryce Young did after waiting a year. We had zero qualms about Bryce Young when he finally got to play. I think Keelan Russell is gifted and as talented as Bryce Young was, and he's bigger and maybe more athletic. Okay. Where I was at in Texas was 10 minutes this past Sunday, was 10 minutes from where he grew up. he's still a talk of the town out in Texas. So,
wow,
yeah. So that I like that. And then the other guys are just high ranked, guys. So we'll figure that out. But I think B, if they live up to the hype, because if Mac beats Keelan out, that means Mac beat out a legit guy. And if Keelan wins the job, he is who we thought he was. Ceiling, we got about 4 minutes, guys. We need to kind of probably pick it up.
Ceiling A+. I just think if both of those guys are playing super well, I think they are Heisman Trophy level.
I'll go A for the ceiling, based off of what Sim said. And I also look at a guy like Jet Tomlin. If he gets an opportunity a couple years from now, if he sticks it out, I think he's right there in the conversation with the guys we've seen.
Yeah, and once again, ceiling is about potential, and I think you have two guys that could potentially, if they compete at their best level, that's what that means, is they're A+ guys. Leadership.
B+. We haven't seen them. Actually, I'll just go with B. You just haven't seen them have to be leaders yet. Hopefully, they can grow it into more of the leadership just because of their quarterback.
Same. I go B because it's unproven leadership right now.
Yep, and I'm going with a B as well because I haven't seen enough where they were the man.
They're going to have to be leaders.
They haven't had to do it yet. That's judging. Ceiling is judging on what you think their potential is. B is judging on are they ready to do it? And I don't know. I don't know. All right. Game changer.
A+. I think. Yeah, I mean, I just think Austin Mack, Keelan Russell, those guys are game changers. Especially, you could see the difference when they, even against the lower competition, when they got on the field, they looked different.
I'm definitely going A+ there as well. I think you have two for sure game changers. And then I think Tomlin, if he sticks it out, could be one. And we don't know what Tayden Coward could be yet because he's the untalked about guy, but who knows? He could be Mac Jones 2.0.
Dang, y'all making me feel I was gonna give him an A, but I mean, I think I got to go with the plus too. So, because no, seriously, all those guys have. If what we were told last year is true, guys, and we'll talk about this tomorrow as well. If what we were told was true, then we have some game changers. If what we were told was true, because they almost beat out Ty Simpson last year, is what we were told. Okay, and when we talking about him being a first-round draft pick, and you had two guys that never played that was about to beat him out, so I'm going to say game changer. Tomorrow we'll talk about wide receivers. That's where we'll start, because to me, all of this is proven. All this is proven by having some dogs to throw to. If the receivers don't live up to their part, we're going to end up looking back at this chart going, we thought we had something.
For sure.
Right. Hey, so P-Field said he can't wait to hear our coach rankings. We're going to rank the coaches. We're going to get to them. All right. You're listening to the Martin Houston Show with Martin Xavier Simeon. That's the Houston Power Rankings. We talked about the quarterbacks. We'll hit the wide receivers at least, and maybe others on tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, and always acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. Roll Tide, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.